School of Racing Graphics. In this video, I'm going to go through the Monte Carlo Street Stock template number 5, specifically using Adobe Illustrator, specifically using the auto update feature in this particular template. So I'm going to show you the files first, so you can see it comes with all these goodies here. We're going to be particularly working in the Adobe Illustrator Auto Update version. This is the one that's going to save you a ton of time if you're using Adobe Illustrator. You're not going to have to pick through layers and mess with all that. You get straight into designing. So this is the one here you're going to want to use. I've already got it dropped right here into my wrap project. So I'm going to show you how to add a design, change all the elements out in the template itself, different nose, remove the glass, changing the skirt or removing the skirt altogether, different wheels. We got 2 different wheels set in here. So I'm just going to go through each one by one and show you how to customize this in Adobe Illustrator. So we could do both a dirt version and an asphalt version, and there's a lot of options for both. Okay, so I'm just going to start and just kind of walk through each thing that can be turned on and off. So you can see here, typically you can, in templates, you're like, oh, okay, I want to get to this part here. I want to get to the, I want to remove that nose. So you're like grabbing and selecting and trying to like delete stuff and you're not sure what you're grabbing. Okay, so a really easy thing to do, and just a hot tip for Adobe Illustrator, is you can just use the search panel in the layer palette. And so you can just type in here Camaro. Okay, and so if I just want to remove that nose, I'm just going to type in Camaro, and then it just shows me all the layers that have the Camaro nose in it. Okay, so I'm just going to turn it off. Not the whole right side. Okay, so now what that does is it just brings up the default Monte Carlo nose. Okay, and so same thing with the hood. So we have the asphalt hood on it right now. So I'm going to just type in asphalt, or I could just type in hood. Okay, and now I have the IMCA hood. You can see that one as well, or the asphalt hood. And so I'm just going to type in asphalt just to make it super simple. And I'm going to turn off the top view, so then you see it goes down into the standard IMCA hood. Okay, and I'm going to just turn off that one, and then there you go. You can see the hood scoop. It bumps down. Instead of being for asphalt, it goes down to dirt. Okay, and the same thing on this side. Now I'm just going to turn all those back on because the first wrap layout I'm going to create or show you how to add the design is going to be an asphalt car. So I'm going to leave that on. And so the next thing, which you can't really see here, but everything in the template is turned on so that you can go through and turn things off that you don't want. I just like having everything on. I don't like having hidden layers. So you can see the wheel spokes here. So I'm just going to lighten the wheels just so we can kind of see what we're working on here. In Illustrator, you could just go over to your swatches panel, and you can see everything's already named. So you don't got to come pick through here. You're just going to recolor here. So here's the nose color, here's the hood color. So we're just looking for the wheel color, and I'm just going to change it something bright so we can kind of see what we're looking at. And because both wheel spokes are on, they look a little bit weird right now. So I'm going to turn one off and leave one on. We have 2 different spoke options. Okay, so I'm just going to type in spoke. All right, and so it shows here the layers that have spokes in them. So I'm going to open those up. Okay, and I want to use, so you can see here, so if we're looking at the right rear, we've got the standard like 8-hole spokes here, but I want to use the other one. I'm going to use the spoke 2, okay, which has got the 5 holes. So it's a little bit not quite as common, but they look pretty cool. Okay, so I could turn all those off. I'm going to turn off spoke 1 there, turn off spoke 1 there, and turn off spoke 1 there. So now all my wheels are set up with the 5 holes in it, or you could just call it the 5-spoke standard wheel. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and turn off my dirt treads, because right now, if I zoom in, you can see I really care about details. I care about things being specific. You can see there's dirt treads on the wheels. Okay, so I made this simple. You could just type the word remove. And you could just remove these, okay? Or you could type in the word dirt. Same thing, it's going to come up. As long as the word that you're typing is within the layer name, it's going to come up, okay? And so even though it's a minor detail, I'm going to go ahead and turn those off. and I'm going to turn those ones off. And now we have nice slick asphalt tires. Now I am going through a lot in this video, so if you don't want to like watch every single component of it, you can just go down to the description on YouTube and click the timestamps, and the timestamps will skip you to where you want to get. If you want to get into like dive right into like I want to get a wrap added to this thing really quick, you can just skip to that timestamp if you want. Okay, so I'm going to go back here, and now I'm going to show you the spoiler options. So I'm just going to type in spoiler. All right. So you can see here we got it on the right side, left side, and the top, and we're going to have two different options. For the asphalt car, I'm going to use the Plexi one, so I'm going to use spoiler number 2. Okay, so you can see it's like a plexiglass with a little bit of hardware there. If I didn't want that one, the one more common to dirt would be spoiler 1. So I can just add that to the top, add it to the side here, and add it on that side there. And you could just remove them all together. Some cars don't have a spoiler, specifically in dirt. I've seen cars without spoilers. Just depends on what class they're in and what the rules are. Okay, so it is completely removable. So I'm going to add in spoiler number 2. That's what I want to do for this particular project. And just for my own sanity, I am going to change this back to a darker color here. Okay, and I'm going to click OK. Now, also too, you know, the asphalt car is going to use the plexiglass because that's pretty typical. They have like a plexiglass windshield. So you could type in glass, and then you can turn it on and off there. So if you want to get down to dirt, and then there is even a little visor hidden underneath that, okay, for the dirt cars. And the same thing with the other side. We could turn it on and off. You can also select the pieces individually and remove them. The rivets go with it, even this little plexi piece here. Okay, all that comes off. You can move it. So I'm just going to leave it there. And of course the top view as well. I didn't name that one glass. I named it windows. I don't know why I did that, but there it is. And even if you can't find it, like if you're like, I typed in glass and I can't find it, you can select it here. Okay, this is one of the awesome things about Illustrator. When you select something here, it does shuffle to the layer here. So you can select it really easy, or see it really easy and turn it on and off. I like using the search feature. It just makes it a little bit quicker, and I'm used to it. All right, so now we're going to move into the roll cage color. So if you want to change the roll cage color, you can see here there's a lot of little layers and stuff that are tucked into the inside of the car, and it's like picking through all that to change the roll cage. Because let's say the client has a gray roll cage instead of a black one. Okay, so I'm going to go here to my swatches panel, and I'm just going to find roll cage. So here it is. And let's say that they have an orange roll cage or something similar to what I'm going to be adding. Okay. So you can see it changes it all the way across the board. Right now it's orange in there. It's orangish red, orangish red. You don't got to pick through all the little pieces. Now you can, again, just type in roll cage. And you can see here, it's going to let you select it there. You can select it here, and you can change the color that way. But that way you're just not picking through layers. It's annoying to have to pick through layers, okay? Zoom in a little bit. All right, turn that off. And we already gone through the wheel color. And so we can also remove the skirt. I know not every class in asphalt and in dirt have the skirts. So we can just go ahead and type skirt, okay? And you can see there's a lot of different things. There's highlights, and then there's the skirt itself, and then there's the place that adds the graphic. And so we want to just make sure that we're turning that off. Okay, so I turned off skirt, and I'm going to turn it off on the right side as well. And now there's no skirt. This is more of a standard Monte Carlo body with just the basic pieces in it. Okay, but I'm going to leave it on because I want to keep it on for my car, but I wanted to show you that there's an option to take it off. It's important for all these pieces to be separate, because if we keep them all together and create one mask, then we can't change the nose out, and we can't change the bumper cover out, and we can't change out different pieces that are on the car. And so by keeping them separate and masking them separately even with the graphics, it allows us to turn things on and off without having to completely rebuild the template each time, if that makes sense. Okay, and then so we also have, let's see, tire labels. So I put by default my tire labels in here, but because this is an Illustrator, I linked it so you don't have to use my tire label and you don't have to keep it standard here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click the edit button in the links. You can also just find it in your folder in the links, and it says tire labels right here. And I'm just going to move Hoosier over there for now. And I got the American Racer one in there. I'll keep mine over here. And you can also just make your own. Like, you don't have to use any of these. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit save. And I'm going to go back over here. And it might take it a second to update so you can see the yellow things updating here. I'm going to go out of the software, come back in. It's going to give me the prompt. I'm going to say yes. And now you can see Hoosier populates on all the tires on the side of it. Okay. So we got our tire labels on. We've removed our skirt. Now what we want to do is we're just going to add a design in. And so I want to show you, you can see all the links here. Now, if you don't know where this links panel is, you just go to Window, and everything in here is in alphabetical order. And you just go to Links, and it'll bring that up, and it'll show you what's all linked in the file. Now, why is the body panels file linked so many times? Because we have to link it for each piece of the car, right? If it comes off, if the part of the car comes off, we need it linked in and clipped into that piece. So we got it linked in for the rear bumper cover. We got it linked in for the skirt. We got it linked in for the body. We got it linked in for the hood. All those are options. So these links all become required in order for it to auto update. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to go to the body panels file, which again, if you go to the folder, it's just right here. Okay, and then I have a provided layout. We're going to switch it out here in just a second. Okay, so it essentially just works pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I'm going to go ahead and change that. And we'll just change it to something like really bright so we can really see the difference. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Okay, so that's saved now. And I'm going to come over here. You can see it's already trying to update. I always go out of the software, come back in to get that prompt because it typically pops back up quicker if I leave the software and come back in. So I just Command Tab out, Command Tab right back in, and then that pops up. This time it happened pretty quickly. But you can see now here it is. It auto updates and it just shows everything that we changed the color in the body panels file. It automatically updated here. I'm not sliding things in, creating clipping masks or anything like that. And so same thing here with the skirt. That's why the skirt's included. I know some cars do a metal skirt and they wrap it. I know some cars do a plastic skirt and they don't wrap it. So you don't have to run your design down there. For those ones with the metal skirt, you might want to run your design down there because the wrap would go down there. Okay, if that makes sense. All right, so now if I want to begin to add a design, I included this design and a bunch of fonts, including a font that I created just specifically for the number set. It's like a big bonus added into the Monte Carlo just to get you started on your first wrap design using the template and how to use it and all that kind of stuff. And so quite a bit of value here. And so if you go to provided layout, you'll see I've added all this and everything in here is live. The text is live, the number set is live, all of it. This number set, I included it for free, so you don't have to like go buy a number set. It's a racing number set. I'm going to show you all the options how to use it. It's really awesome. So the way we're gonna get this file to link here and populate into the template. First, I'm going to undo this because this green is unsightly, and I'm going to get back to my base here. Okay, is we're essentially going to unlink this file. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is it's actually quite simple. I'm just going to type any special character after the body panels file. It could be a 1, it could be a version 1, right? But whatever we do, the one linked has to remain the name body panels. Otherwise, you're going to have to go through and relink it all, and it becomes a manual process. So you don't want to do that. Okay. So I'm going to take this one now, provided layout, and I'm going to name this one what the other one was named, body panels. Okay, so this now becomes the linked file. This one's just sitting here. If we want to go back to it, we can. We just rename them. Okay, so I'm going to come in here, and you can see it's already saying you did some stuff. Do you want to update it? And I'm saying, yes, I do. Okay, so we're going to give it a second. All right, so now there it is. The wrap comes into the template. Now I could just go in and modify that particular file and begin to see it populate over here on this particular template. So I'm going to go in and start playing with that one here. Now, before you do open that one, you're going to need to install all these fonts. We got T for God, we got Tico, we got Montserrat, and we got CDT. I can't pronounce that, but all of these are OFL open license fonts. Okay, so I can legally include them. I'm not just like packing anybody's fonts into my product here. I can legally include these. That's why, you know, a lot of these are Google fonts, because they're open source. They're free to use. Okay, and then this one here has a license, and it's included with the purchase of this template. I created this particular one. It's specifically for the number set. Okay, so when you want to change the number out, this is what you're going to use. All right, so if you don't have this installed and you open the template or the wrap layout, it might prompt you to like, hey, I don't have that file, or I don't have that font. Can you reassign it to a different font? Just make sure you select the Monte Special Bold, okay, when that one comes up. Otherwise, it's going to show as some weird Arial font, or you know, Myriad or something weird like that. So I've already got it installed. So I'm just going to open up now my body panels, or I'm sorry, yeah, my body panels, my design file here. And I'm just going to give it a second. Oh, I see. I got to close that one because I renamed it. And here we go. All right. So I always include notes in my files. Make sure you read those. It's funny, I include these notes and then people ask me support questions that these notes particularly answer. I am just going to turn them off for now. We don't need them. Okay. So I got everything set up similar to the way I set up the template. You can change the colors of this really, really easy. So the first thing I'm going to do though is show you how to use this number set. Okay, so I'm going to be doing this moving forward with all my number sets, turning them into fonts so that they can be easily switched out. I know that this is kind of a plain design, but that's on purpose. I'm not trying to. Not every design needs to have a million outlines and 100 shadows. The designs like this pretend to be really powerful when you see them at the track. They stand out, they're bold, they're iconic, and that's why I designed it this way. I wanted it to be a little bit more of an iconic, beyond the standard of what you typically see at the track. Really bright colors, really solid shapes, you know, not overly decorated. So I'm going to just show you how to use it essentially. Okay, so I'm going to highlight the 5 here, and the 5 can become a 7, it can become an 8, it can become a 9, whatever it is that you're working on. You can see that it fits in there. It already looks awesome. It fits right into the design perfectly, and you can do the same thing with this 5 here and with this 5 here. So we can go 9 and we can go 9. Now, if you've got a double digit number, like let's say, you know, you got number 19 or number 29 or number 34, well, that becomes problematic because now you have a 96, and that's really wide. So I thought of a solution for this. So what we could do is just hold down Shift, and I have condensed versions of the font in there. So now we have a 9, and we can go 92. Just hold down Shift and type 9, hold down Shift and type 2, and you're going to get the condensed version of each font. So if I just hit regular 2, you can see that those don't go together, right? So I'm going to go 92. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that. And I typically wouldn't suggest doing any of this, right? Because I already have this skewed, however many degrees that is, which I think it's 37, which is quite a bit. But I would recommend always working in your character panel here when you're adjusting numbers that are a live text. And so you can see here I have a kerning of a -47, but I want a little bit more space there. So I'm going to go ahead and make it -30. Okay. And maybe -20. Try that. And then instead of trying to squeeze it in and getting it to fit and do all kinds of other things, I'm actually going to adjust the width here. So you can see right now it's at 79. Okay. So let's say I wanted to go to 100 and see what these numbers were actually made of. That's 1,000, 100. Okay. So that's what they actually look like at 100 and 100, 100 height, 100 width. So I'm going to go and bring this down to maybe 60, but you can see the skew stays the same no matter how much I change the width if I change it here in the character panel with the live text. If I was to just stretch it, it stretches the skew, you lose your math, everything gets lost. So I'm going to go up to 75, see what that looks like. That looks pretty good. Okay. And so same thing here. And so now I can go through and I can go 34, 34. We can go 33. All the numbers I think actually look pretty cool. So we can go, you know, even 51. So if we were going to go 51, well, anything with a 1, 1's a narrower digit. So we don't have to be down in the 75 range. We can go up to the 90 range and just see where that 1 lands. Is it going to cover that point? Maybe not. So let's go to 85. Okay. So we got 51 there like that. We can go hold down shift, 31, 91, 81, 71, 61, and vice versa, 16. I might change the space in between that, tighten it up a little bit if it's going to be a number in the teens. Okay, but you get the basic idea. You got a lot of different options here, even with this one layout with these fonts included. So again, the McCabe, this is all here. These are all live. Everything's live. Okay, so we can go Smith. Okay, and then instead of stretching that out, I'm just gonna go 305 and see kind of where I want to get to the edge of that 1 there. So maybe 325, something like that. And can change this to different name. And the kerning is kind of tight on that. It worked for the previous word, but it doesn't really work for this one. So I'm going to just include that, or kind of bring it up a little bit. Okay. And what I did on this particular design too is I added this wheel well in here just to kind of make it more fit this car. But if it makes it so you can't read the sponsor, then you just remove it. And this was a filler on the previous sponsor, so you can just remove that. Okay. And then you can change this to anything, Harp Roofing, change the phone number, and there you go. So I just give you some ideas. Right, Harris Auto Body, so just changing it all out. Okay, and so I'm just changing that particular one. So we could go here and go let's see, 91, and I could take the eyedropper tool and just eyedropper that. Oh, why is that not working? It's doing something weird here. Must be because it's flipped upside down. But again, I don't have to go in here and change this to a different style. I'm going to shrink it down. Just hold down shift. I might fill those little yellow spots there just so that it's not looking, there's just no reason for that to be there really. And go all caps. I like these. I like the idea of doing big and bold sponsors that kind of go up over, you know, the top of the car right here and right here, just so that it, I don't know, it just stands out to me. Just something different. It's a little bit more unique, you know. I'm just trying like new things, you know. I'm not, just kind of experimenting. Roofing, might bring that in here like that. You can see I got my logo there, and then we can go ahead and change the color. You get the basic idea. You can change all of these into something else. Okay, and I'll leave the rest of these because I don't need to make the video longer to show you how to change those. You can already do that. The fonts are all included. But then changing out the colors. So if I want to change the graphic color, like let's say I want this part of the car to be more of a white. Okay, so let's say what if I want it to be black? All right, just kind of mess around here. So all I did is I selected that particular swatch, which happened to be named Nose Copy, which that's not a great name, but kind of get the idea. I want to match it to a plastic color that exists. I don't want to just change it to any color. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and select this. Go to select same fill color, and it should select everything else. It's the same. And then I'm just going to eyedropper that. Same here. Fill color. That. Okay, and then I'm going to actually play around with this even more, and I'm going to turn the 91 kind of like a red. That. So I got to make sure I'm got the fill color selected here. And let's see. That. I dig that. Wonder what this will look like if I also turn that red. That, and then take this. Kind of like reversed the whole design out into some different colors. Like that. I think that looks pretty cool. Could take this guy here and just make it like a lighter gray. Like that. Okay. And now I'm going to just, I don't really need this. And so this is the nice thing too, is the wrap layout comes with all the bleed and everything included. So you don't need to like be like, oh, it has to fit this car. It can fit really any car. And so you can move it into a dirt modified or an asphalt modified or whatever you want to move it into. You know, I kept the pieces separate too, so you can move stuff around if you don't want it exactly where I have it. I try not to lock into using it exactly how I have it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And we're going to come over here. And we'll take a look, and I'm going to go out, come back in, and it's going to want to update. Now notice I wasn't going back and forth and like looking at it here, then looking at it there, then looking at it here, then looking at it there. I was just trying to keep my workflow really steady by working in one place, then coming over and taking a look at what I did, and then make my adjustments so that I'm not going back and forth, because you can waste a lot of time going back and forth and trying to add things into a template, see what it looks like. It's better to just kind of keep your bearings about you and design in one spot. So I'm going to take this guy. And just move it out of the way so that this shows up. You can see I did two different styles. I did all caps over here. And you would think like this particular font isn't that exciting, right? But here's the, like, when you think about being a graphic designer and you think about the design world, like not every racing font or every car needs to have like a slab condensed skewed font for its sponsor. Like brands in the world aren't all doing that. And so when we just start slamming every logo as like a skewed like slab font, or like a, you know, like using Tico over and over, or like Anton over and over and skewing it every single time, kind of like takes the nature, the character of the design away a little bit and makes it, I don't know, less appealing in my mind. And so by bringing in what these, you know, go into Lowe's and like look at glue bottles and look at brands and look at tools and like look at how they do their branding, then begin to implement some of those ideas into what it is you're creating when you're creating wrap designs. And you'll see like, oh, this is more interesting actually. You can like let the number itself like create the attitude of the car, and then all the other brands are just coming along, just kind of supporting what you got going on. If that makes sense. Okay, I don't know why this one's acting weird, but it is the Tico font. You just need to have it installed. Apparently I don't. Let's do this. Oh, I see what's happening. So this is what I had there. Also, I don't recommend with text, like putting red text on black. It's just not good for colorblind people. Can't see. So I must have grabbed that and eyedroppered the racing number, and that's why it was doing that. Okay, so there's that. I'm not going to go through and fix all that in this video. Really just trying to give you a basic idea. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Go back here, take a look. And you can see it's actually a lot more enjoyable to play with because I'm not having to come in here and again redo everything and like move things around and where's my clipping mask and all of that kind of stuff. Now you can see a little bit of the red here is popping through when we're zoomed out, but when you zoom in, it's really not there. And when you save your proof, it's not there. It's just recognizing that underneath the clipped in art, the panels to the car are still red. So you can change those to match your design so that you won't see that little bit that's in there. But it's really not going to show up. When you save out your JPEG or your proof, it won't show up. It's just kind of like an Illustrator thing. You just almost have to just like ignore it. Okay. So I'm going to do one more thing here just for fun. And I'm going to go in and totally change it again. I'm kind of like sticking with this red theme. I don't necessarily need to, but I'm going to stick with the red theme. So we'll just turn those white and we'll change this to that. And I'm going to change this. We don't want anything on there like that. And again, this will be white. Just going to get rid of these for now. And I'm going to bring that up to my graphic layer because you can add a name there and it will show on the dirt car. Okay. And let's turn this to that color. Change it all out. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Let's take a look at how this one looks. Again, there's things I would change out. There's definitely edits that I would make to the sponsors and spacing and, you know, things behind things and stuff like that to reorganize it. But you get the basic idea. Everything kind of works pretty cleanly. So now I'm going to show you actually how to convert this back to dirt with a different nose, take off the bumper cover, and do all that kind of stuff so that you can see that still you have a lot more options. Before I do that, I'm going to just take, just because I think it would be fun, back to body panels, and I'm going to go to select, same fill color, and I'm just going to go to swatches, and I think it's all using the same. Yeah, there you go. So we can go totally green, or like a light blue color, more of a turquoise. Okay, and click OK, and then hit save. can really do this part like any color because it's not touching any plastic, the blue, so it could be any random radical color, right? As soon as you're touching plastic, you're kind of like locking into, you know, hey, like that blue doesn't match that blue kind of a thing. And so I don't particularly like doing it that way. I like if my design is touching blue plastic, then I like it to match. So this is kind of more of like a classic look now with the blue. All right, and let's see, just gonna brighten this up a little bit closer to that Pepsi blue color. Bring this color over as well. And let's see, I'm going to add that to swatches just so that I have it in here, that blue color. And I could just drag and drop that onto roll cage and make that match my roll cage. And I can also do the same thing, make it match my wheel color if you care. So now you can see it all matches there. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and turn on all the dirt stuff. So first we're going to turn off this plexiglass. And windshield. Okay. And I'm going to turn on the other spoiler option. Okay, so I'm going to have to change the spoiler color here. Kind of like that little bit of orange pop on it though in some ways. All right, and then you already saw how I did the spoke, so now I can just add the Camaro nose back in as well. We have a pretty good dirt car here. Actually, I'm going to remove the hood, the asphalt hood. So we can get to the IMCA hood. Go. And then if you want to use the Camaro nose instead of the Monte Carlo nose, you can go to Camaro. And we can just turn it on. You don't have to turn off. You don't have to turn off the Monte Carlo nose. This one just essentially covers it up. So what we have to do is just go into our body panels file and make sure that our tape doesn't. Trying to select this guy here, spoiler sides, there it is. And for now, I'll just turn it white. And let's see, I'm going to go back in here. And let's see, object show all. And so then you can see there, you can, change that color, get the nose on. The last thing I didn't show you, and is another option here for these cars, is you can take the rear bumper cover off. So just type in rear, turn off the bumper cover, and I do have a nice little hidden bumper back here for you, so you can have that kind of dirt look there. That makes sense. So if you have any questions regarding this template, always feel free to hit me up. This is my favorite template that I've created so far. I created a ton of options for it, but I've also made it super easy to use. You can hit me up on the support page, srgfx.com. Just or schoolofracinggraphics.com, and then just go to the Get Help section, and I'm always going to be answering those questions. So